Right here, out. Protect them, out. We put the work in. Let's finish. Come on, man. Let's do this. Family, I'll do 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
You see, we dream chase, because that's all we was given to start with. Then we realized the dream was obtainable. Now look at us.
There. All right, now moving on to this D line. So 2024, you got Nolan Smith, JC, Jordan Davis, Milt Williams at the other D tackle position, and Josh Sweat. That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. In 2017, now we ran a 4-3, if I'm not mistaken. We had Brandon Graham, Vinnie Curry, Derek Barnett, Chris Long, Fletcher Cox, Timmy Jernigan, that's my guy, Bo Allen, Destiny Vaya, Ledger Qualls.
And we also ran that wide 9.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a wide 9. You're absolutely correct. Now, and Mr. Owens kind of, it was platoons in 2017, as he said. It was. You had Wave A. When Wave A needed a rush, you put in Wave B. And Wave B was just as good as damn near Wave A. You know what I'm saying? There was no real let off there. We were able to really, as he said, sustain that all year. It was a consistency. He is absolutely correct. When you go to 2024, now look, 2017, the big name on that D line was Fletcher Cox. He was him.
Guard, I think that was Turner, and now he's just going bear crawl on him. Go ahead, Fletcher Cox.
Brandon Graham was still doing his thing. He led us in sacks a year, I believe, with 9.5. Vinnie Curry, solid. Derek Barnett, bonehead player he was. He made his plays when he needed to make plays. But there wasn't a lot of hype around it. As opposed, you go to the 2024 D-line, there's expectations for this D-line. One, they're younger than the 2017 team. Yeah, I mean, you have the Hall of Fame talent in Jalen Carter. You have the other first-round selection in Jordan Davis. You have Milton Williams, who's coming on strong and clearly did something right because he just earned him a big bag with the Patriots. Okay, then you have another first-round selection in Nolan Smith. Right? Then on the opposite side, you have Josh Sweat, Florida State, Old Faithful, right?
You done bought.
Right? There's more expectations with the 2024 team, but as we talk, they didn't really start coming into form, like you said, to mid to later, really later season, going into the playoffs, and that's when this team really took control. At one point in the season, we didn't even have too many sacks. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's not counting the man you paid $50-something million to who couldn't make a play. All right, so I think, and like he said, Mr. Owens said this, consistency was the word. We might have, at the end of the day, had more sacks in 2024, but the 2017 team, from beginning to end, Swartz had them balling. That wide 9 was wide 9, and it was working. It was working. I ain't had much faith in it, but it was working. You had Chris Long, who came over. He gave you valuable minutes. Derek Barnett, if he doesn't secure the fumble, we don't get a bowl. Straight up, Brandon Graham, he doesn't make the play when the play needs to be had. We don't get a bowl.
Brady gets hit. The ball is out, and Philadelphia has it. Derek Barnett comes away with it.
Back in the day, taking an outside pass rusher in Brandon Graham and putting him inside against the guard, Shaq Mason, pays huge dividends with the first sack fumble of the game. No question, that ball is out.
That ball was one off the D-line, straight up.
Mhm.
You can't even twist that around. It was one off the D-line. So with that said, even though bigger names in 2024 and a lot of expectation there, this group is going to be elite. I full-blown expect it to be. When we're just going on the head-to-head, I'm going to have to go 2017. Just because of the impact, like you said, they've had from beginning to end, literally end, in second time Brady recovering the fumble, you know what I'm saying? Literally to end for real. So I'm gonna go with 2017. You know what I'm saying? Even though the expectations for the 2024 team are very high for me. I love what them young boys are doing.
Yeah, you touched on it somewhat because with you saying BG in 2017 having 9.5 sacks. He also had 47 total tackles and 1 fumble recovery. Fletch had 26 total tackles with 5.5 sacks and 2 fumble recoveries. Timmy Jernigan had 29 total tackles with 2 sacks. And then Derek Barnett, like you mentioned, bonehead. We had so much faith in him coming out of Tennessee. He broke Reggie White's sack record and but look, keep doing what you're doing in Houston. But he had 21 total tackles and 5 sacks. Now, again, as we mentioned, we had waves. That was the first wave. Now you have the second wave come in with Vinny Curry with 42 total tackles and 3 sacks. Then you had Bo Allen. A lot of people forget about Bo Allen. Had 20 tackles, 20 total tackles with 1 sack. And then, as you mentioned, Chris Long coming over from the Rams. No, I'm sorry. He came over from the Patriots.
Yeah.
To have him as your, 3rd or 4th edge rusher, and to finish the season with 28 total tackles and 5 sacks, that speaks volumes. All right. Again, it's depth with the 2017 team. And the thing that I liked about 2017, you mentioned it, consistency. It's consistency. That's all we knew from the first game when we played the Commanders. By the way, I was at that game. And then all the way up until the Super Bowl with the Patriots. You said it best. That D-line won that Super Bowl single-handedly, and not the Super Bowl, but won a lot of the games in the season single-handedly. When our offense wasn't clicking on all cylinders as it normally was, we can rely on the defensive line to create pressure, to push the pocket, and make the quarterback be uncomfortable in the pocket. But then, as you mentioned, when you move over to 2024 with the young pups and the young dogs, you got Jalen Carter with 42 total tackles and 4.5 sacks. Nolan had 42 total tackles with 6.5 sacks. Sweaty 41 total tackles, 8 sacks. Milton 24 total tackles and 5 sacks. Jordan Davis 27 total tackles, 1 sack. Even T Book got in a little action with 18 total tackles and 1 sack. BG 20 total tackles and 3.5 sacks, and Jalen Hunt coming in with 21 total tackles and 1.5 sacks. But we got to remember, Jalen Hunt didn't really start playing until midway point through the season, like really getting actual reps on the field. And then it was a point with 2024 where I went back and forth between these defensive line because, as you mentioned, 2024 had more sacks than 2017. But it was one point where we were literally relying on BG in his 15th season to be the best edge rusher on our team. Nolan Smith didn't start out the season. Nolan Smith was behind BG. So we didn't get that production from Nolan Smith. So we had Josh Sweat, where he had 8 sacks. I told Big Huss off camera, when I saw his numbers, I was shocked that he had 8 sacks because with Josh Sweat, with me, to me, he was inconsistent. It'll be games where week 1 and week 2, he'll have a combined 4 sacks. Then weeks 5 to week 10, you don't hear nothing from Josh Sweat. Is he on injured reserve? Is he playing? We don't know what's going on with Josh Sweat. We had to wait all the way until the Super Bowl to get the breakout sack party from him. And he got a bag from Arizona, rightfully so, but it wasn't consistent throughout the whole season. It was, as you mentioned, because towards the end of the season, playoffs, we knew from week 1 on what we were getting from the 2017 team. And the thing that I liked is the depth, but not only the depth, that depth came in and contributed.
Yeah.
Once you get past Jalen Carter, Nolan, Josh Sweat, Milton, Jordan Davis, you got the Morrow Jomos who we like. You have the T Books who we like, and also Jalix Hunt. But it's a drop off once you get from the big dog names.
And you got to remember, with a lot of those guys you just named, Vic runs a 5-man front. So a lot of those guys you name are starters. Those aren't rotational pieces. Those are starters. Your Nolan Smiths, your Jordan Davises, your JCs, the Miltons, and all those guys are already on. So there was no real wave after that. You had some players you could substitute, but not a true, like that's the word you platoon. You know what I mean? Like that 2017 team.
Yeah, because Schwartzy boy, he was throwing, bruh. You had the starters, they need a little break. We coming in with a whole new set of 4, bruh.
Man,
legitimately.
Yeah, for real.
Legitimately. And we knew that they were going to get after the quarterback and attack the quarterback all day. And that's why I do give the nod and agree with you, Big Huss, with the 2017 D-line being better than the 2024 D-line, strictly off of consistency. It's what have you done for me lately? You see what I'm saying? And the fact is, they did it from week 1 to the Super Bowl. We had to wait on the 2024 team, even though they're young, and I'm excited about the future with them, of course, and excited about this 2025 season that's upcoming. But that 2017 team, it was something different, because if y'all haven't watched that 2017 Super Bowl when we got after Tom Brady, you'll be in for a treat. Even though he threw for over 500 yards, we still was getting after him. No, Tom Brady was rattled. He was getting pushed to the ground. He was getting hit. Tom Brady did not like that game. So yeah, I'm definitely going with 2017.
2017. All right. So let's look at the linebackers here. Our linebackers for 2017 were Nigel Bradham.
Mr. Bradham.
That was my guy for real. Jordan.
Into Patriot territory and spun down at the 33-yard line by Deron Harmon.
Hicks and Michael Kendricks, or Michael Kendricks, I believe it is. He pronounces it.
And then you remember we had a couple little depth pieces. It's that with this team, Huss. You gotta remember we had Najee Good, Camus Gruger Hill.
Hey, only person, and this is disrespect. Only person I'm recognizing is Camus Gruger Hill, Najee Good, Buns, Joe Walker. I don't know why I said your name on his John for real. You feel me?
How you feel about Nate Jerry, bro?
This ain't about to be all that for real. Like, dog, them two, some of the worst. I will just leave it at that. And then you have 2024. You have Billboard Bond, Axeman Jr., Jeremiah Trotter Jr. You had Oren Burks. You had Nakobe Dean prior to him getting injured. I believe that was the 4, if I'm not mistaken. Now, correct. For me, once again, we talk about not being close. It's 2024 for me. Just with this group, you had 2 linebackers, even with Nakobe Dean missing games, over 100 tackles, close to 130 tackles. Bond, 150 tackles. Oren Burks, when Nakobe went out, didn't miss a beat. There was no drop off. He came in and was impactful as the games got bigger. Now with the 2017 team, there wasn't a lot of Jordan Hicks. I believe he got hurt that year. Mr. Bradham, He made his tackles. He actually might have led the team in tackles that year with around 80 or so. 88 tackles.
88. Mm-hmm.
Michael Kendrick had 77 tackles. I mean, look, they made their plays. I put it like this: they weren't necessarily the weak link of the defense. If you had to put it like that, you know what I'm saying? They weren't crippling the defense. They weren't in the way, but they weren't as impactful as the 2024 linebackers. Look, man, Zach Bond played so good. He forced Howie to give him money. You know what I'm saying? Like your boy Nakobe Dean came in. Man, we ain't no undersized, won't be this, won't be that. He made plays. Those two were like yin, yin, yang, the perfect complement to one another. And just how they truly impacted the game. More so Zach Bond, bro, Super Bowl. Anytime you need a play, whether it be a peanut punch, an interception, a tackle, I'm here. I'm in the right position. I can line up as a stack linebacker. I can line up on the edge. The versatility. What Fangio is able to do with Zach Bond and what he had did with Nakobe Dean prior to the injury, we haven't seen that type of linebacker play for a very long time. You can almost take it back to X-Men, the original. Jeremiah Trotter, the original. Like, take it back that far. It's been that long since we've had that level and that caliber of linebacker play. And that was, like I said, no slight to Nigel. Mr. Brad Allen, you my dog. You my dog, bro.
Another Florida State product.
Yeah. And I'm all about to you, but bro, you my dog, bro. But these linebackers are, look, that group was elite. Not to jump too far, 2025. So I'm interested to see what he does with this Jahad Campbell, because this can just turn this group up even more. But for me, it's 2024. It's not close. What Fangio was able to do with this group, like I said, we haven't seen for a while. Now, when Kel Kendricks and, like I said, Nigel Bradham, they were good. They were good linebackers. They just weren't elite linebackers in my eyes.
Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, they weren't a liability, but they weren't the best on the defensive side of the ball. If we had to, I don't want to get too far ahead, but again, they weren't no liability. You know how we feel about Mr. Brad Dam. Brad Dam make plays. Brad Dam had a scoop and score against Dallas. Hit the little.
Things been working here in the second half.
Oh yeah. And look out. Prescott was the arm coming forward. They say the play is still alive. And this is Bradham, who's going to run it in for the touchdown. At least for the moment. Chris Long created the fumble. And that is the ruling on the field right now as they envelop Prescott.
Joe, like that, hey, bro, Dam used to, Dam was the enforcer for real. On the second level, definitely the enforcer. If you need a player to go balls to the wall, 100%, Brad Dam is your guy. All right, Brad Dam. But Kendricks, as you mentioned, he had to fill in for Jordan Hicks because of that injury. Didn't play bad, but didn't play great. Now with Michael Kendricks, the only knock on him was he downhill going through holes. He could play the run. Now, well, not even just Michael Kendricks, him and Brad Allen, they could not play the pass.
Nah,
they could not play the pass. Anytime it was play action against us that season, they'll get sucked up and we'll get beat behind by tight ends. But overall, as we mentioned, they weren't the greatest linebackers and didn't have the impact as you said, Big Huss, as the 2024 team, but they were solid linebackers. I feel it was more depth on the 2017 team than on the 2024 team, but we can't be remiss if not mentioning what Zach Bond did. Zach Bond, as you said, 151 total tackles, 3.5 sacks. Nakobe, 128, 3 sacks. Oren Burks, 41 total tackles, and then we had Trot coming in with 25 total tackles and a half a sack. Now, Billboard Bond, you touched on it. He made Howie throw him the bag, something that Howie has not done since he's been with the Eagles since 2000. Howie does not pay, well, at least until Bond, does not pay running backs. I'm sorry, does not pay linebackers. Howie ain't giving that up. Howie is a bargain bin shopper when it came to linebackers and running backs, bro. If you have some ounce of incompetence, he gonna sign you, bro, because he ain't trying to throw the big bag at those positions, because Howie didn't feel like that those positions are the value positions. We all know how he values the trenches. Of course, that's where games are won and lost, but Zach Bond changed all that for what he did this season, almost becoming a defensive player of the year, which in that conversation with the Myles Garrett's, the TJ Watts, Zach Bond, bro, he probably getting his head shined every single day with the bag he got, bro.
Hey, freshy boy.
A freshy boy. They coming out that joint. You see what I'm saying? Billboard Bond out here making it, bro. Billboard Bond going crazy. And then, as you said with Nakobe going crazy, because this is the season we were waiting on Nakobe. We said, look, is Nakobe going to take that leap? Everybody knows that Nakobe's play on the field, that's not his issue. It's his injury history. We knew that's why he fell in the draft to us. And then also this season, unfortunately, when we played the Packers, messing up his leg. But before that, he was on a tear. Just those two alone combined beats every single linebacker on 2017. Not only could they rush the passer, could they play the run, but then also they can drop in coverage and play in pass coverage as well against some of the top tight ends, against some of the running backs. I remember it was some plays where they're running wheel routes on Zach Bond. He running stride for stride with Alvin Kamara in phase. Played the hands perfectly, knocked the ball out against Alvin Kamara. Now we switch over to Nakobe Dean when they try to run the wheel route, and he called it on the sideline against the Jags. They try to run the wheel route. Trevor Lawrence tried to throw it with Nakobe. Game.
Give me that.
Over. Like, what you thought this was, bro? You feel me? But yeah, just them two alone beat 2017. But then the depth with Burks and Trotter, what Burks did was phenomenal, stepping in for Nakobe Dean. We all kind of held our breath for a minute when Nakobe got injured, because we like, oh man, Nakobe's playing at a high level. We don't know how Oren Burks. We know Oren Burks, of course, playing with the Niners. But we don't know if it's going to be a major drop off. Oren Burks stepped right in, and of course, he didn't play up to Nakobe's level that Nakobe left when he got injured. But Oren Burks filled in perfectly fine for us, to the tune of us winning the Super Bowl. He wasn't a liability throughout the playoffs nor in the Super Bowl, but if I have to give the nod, I will definitely give it to 2024, just off the simple fact of what Nakobe and Zach Bond did this year. They played out of their mind. We haven't had that linebacker play, as you mentioned, since the Carlos Edmonds and Jeremiah Trotter, even if you want to go a little bit back before that, with the Seth Joyners and things like that. But in our era, we haven't seen linebacker play at that type of level up until 2024 season. They played phenomenal, and it doesn't hurt that Vic Fangio's specialty, as we know, is linebacker. So of course he's going to make sure that his linebackers play at an elite level.
Big facts. Big facts. True. All right. Next group would be corners. So 2017, our corners were Ronald Darby, Jalen Mills,
the Green Goblin.
I'm about to say the Green Goblin. You had P-Rod, Patrick Robinson, Rasul Douglas, another Jersey product, and Dexter McDougal.
Oh, you forgot the bull. What's his name? Sidney Jones.
Was Sidney Jones on that, John?
Sidney Jones, I think that was his rookie season. And then you remember we had Sammy Watkins' half brother, I believe, Jalen Watkins.
Okay. Dang. That's crazy. Hey, I forgot all about them Bulls. I ain't even gonna hold. All right. And then 2024, we got Darius Slay, Keely Ringo, Quinyon Mitchell, Isaiah Rogers, Eli Ricks, Cooper DeJean, Avante Maddox. Now, 2017 gave you work. I ain't gonna act like they did. In 2017, Patrick Robinson had 4 interceptions. Jalen Mills, as much as that boy effed up with the double moves, Green Gob gave you 3 interceptions. Ronald Darby, injuries and all, 3 interceptions. He recently retired. Shout out to him.
Shout out.
Russell Douglas. Is that his rookie year? Second year?
I believe that was his rookie season. I think that's his rookie season.
2 interceptions. The corners are giving you work.
They was causing turnovers, bro.
They were, but something about this group, I put it like this. Yes, they gave you the turnovers, but when you look at the group, if you were actually watching, it was an actual okay group. It wasn't elite talent. Honestly, we weren't facing big time offenses like that. We might have faced 1 or 2 really true big time offenses. I don't know, man. So let me go. I'm gonna transition to the 2024. You have Quinyon Mitchell. In my eyes, Quinyon Mitchell is a top 5 corner right now. I'm not gonna say he's number 1, 2, 3. He actually might be 5, but he has the potential to turn into a top 3 corner. Cooper DeJean, already at the nickel, number 1 in his position. Shut down. You had Slay. Even in Slay's older age, he was a top 10, top 5 corner. I'd probably say top 10. Top 10 corner. Right? So off the duo alone, you had one of the better duos in the league. Just on Quinyon Mitchell and Slay alone, for real. Now, these guys didn't give you any rare interceptions this year. Their interceptions didn't really come to the playoffs when they counted. But they were locked down throughout the year. They tried Quinyon early. And Quinyon was letting folks know, like, nah, I ain't one to play with. Don't toss it this way. You know what I'm saying? Cooper DeJean started off slow. When we inserted Cooper DeJean into the slot, the defense transformed. We had to sit Maddox down. I don't know, something's wrong with that household. The Maddox got her household, something's in the water there. We had to sit him down. But even when sitting him down, he had enough in him to get Cooper DeJean right. And Coop turned elite. He's scooping Derrick Henry on primetime television.
3rd and 11. Nothing to work with there as he's pile driven into the ground by the rookie Cooper DeJean.
We never thought we would have seen that. You know what I'm saying? Picking Patrick Mahomes off in his great era, taking it back to the crib during the Super Bowl.
Mahomes rolling out, looking, firing, intercepted, picked up by Cooper DeJean, gets a block. DeJean is in, touchdown.
This is a rookie, ladies and gentlemen. He's 22 years old. These guys are young. You had Slay, even when they tried to pick on him, he was, no, I'm here. He even started getting physical. This group was more shut down to me. Even though the 2017 roster might have had more interceptions, the 2024 team managed to smothered some elite receivers. I wish I would have had the list of the receivers Quinyon Mitchell went up against. You talking about these are top tier guys. He's holding these guys under 30 yards receiving in a game. CD Lamb. You're silenced. That's why your boy what's his name? Mike is stirring the pot right there. He know his boy got clamped up. Shoot, CD know he got clamped up. That's why he really didn't want to speak on it. You know what I'm saying? Jamar Chase clamped up. Cooper DeJean, 4th and 1. Tossed it to him. Jamar Chase in the flat. They thought it was what your boy say, milk check. They thought it was gonna be a milk check. Nah, nigga, nah. Came downhill, silenced that. That's when I was like, oh, he's him. Like, this guy makes plays for real. So this group was just more an elite unit, and they're younger. The 2017 group, youngest guy on there was Rasul, but he really wasn't even starting. So you say Jalen Mills as a starter? Because P-Rob came in on a 1 year.
Mm-hmm. Him or Darby.
Or maybe Darby for real. Yeah, maybe Darby. But once again, Darby, he came in with a lot of promise. We thought Darby was going to be him. Darby got injured a lot that year. That whole group got injured a lot that year, truth be told. You know what I'm saying? So, of health, talent, youth, I'm going to go with 2024 on this one. I understand the production. You might look at that and be like, that's not making sense. But this group was elite, man. Stats might not show, but this group was elite. 2024 for me.
Okay. As you mentioned, because 2017 had a combined 12 interceptions. 2024 corners had 0 interceptions. But again, let's not let the numbers confuse us. What truly happened. Now, 2017, we had some solid games where we shut down the pass game and things like that. But for the majority of the part, we were a stronger run defense as opposed to a pass defense. When you have the Green Goblin, also known as Jalen Mills, as your number 1 corner, that ain't that most ideal situation that you want to have, even though he, to your point, because he wasn't scared. He was extra confident every time he lined up on that field. But them double moves.
Hey, the double moves were
double moved them up, bro.
You knew if it was, my man was so aggressive. He was so aggressive on that first move. So when you knew the double, when you saw that second move coming as the Eagles, you were like, oh, we already know what this is. It's either a touchdown or a completion. It's going to be one or the other. It's bad for us. That's all I know. Like, no straight bull, up.
Bro. No bull, bro. Jalen, bro, that was one corner who I was nervous when he was lining up on the outside. I definitely was nervous how that outcome was going to turn out. Then, as you said, we had Darby on the other side. Darby wasn't the baddest corner, but those two corners compared to what we have in 2024, it's no comparison. We do appreciate what P-Rob did. Of course, coming, like you said, that 1 year deal. Who did he come from? The Saints, correct?
Yeah.
Saints, right? Had 4 interceptions, one of the biggest interceptions ever in Eagles history in that NFC Championship game. You talked about it off camera.
Oh,
when he
man.
Look, because the Vikings had came down that first possession and went up 7-0.
Man, early.
Just came down, went up 7-0. Because I remember that's the pass that Case Keenum threw to Kyle Rudolph.
Mm-hmm.
And then, matter of fact, Najee Good was guarding Kyle Rudolph. I remember that. But then it came P-Rob. He was on the sideline. I think it was 3rd down. Boom, caught it. Cut back across the field, started pointing. He saw Darby on the sideline. He pointed Darby to the dude. Darby got blasted out the way. I don't know what happened. Darby, bro, they took Darby off his cleats. Hey, bro.
4 men on the rush. Keenum throws. He's picked. Patrick Robinson back the other way. Looking for a block. Gets it. Robinson for the touchdown.
defensive end. He's going to come off the edge, and he's able to get around Hill, and he gets Keenum's arm, it looked like, because the ball sure came out funny, him trying to get it to Thielen. And, yeah, you see there as Chris Long comes in and hits the left arm and then into the chest, and it changes the throw, and he's not able to get enough on an underthrow interception.
It's a 50-yard return by Robinson, who had a career-high 4 interceptions this season.
I said, keep your feet, young boy. Keep your feet. Life is just the beast chair, bro. Life is just the beast chair. Go chill somewhere, dog. I don't know what you had, bro. That was a weight room moment. That was a welcome to the NFL moment, bro.
Yeah.
Even though P-Rob still got in that end zone, you see what I'm saying? Like, we can't deny what the 2017 team did, but what is cause for pause with me with 2017 and why I feel before I go into 2024 is what happened in the Super Bowl. Now you had Danny Amendola, Brandon Cooks, Julian Edelman, and Chris Hogan. Chris Hogan was going nutty in the Super Bowl. Jalen Mills, Ronald Darby, whoever y'all wanted to put on him, Chris Hogan was getting busy in that Super Bowl. I believe he had over 100 yards receiving in that game. And we're not going to sit here and act like Chris Hogan was a world beater. He was a top 10 talent at receiver. He was an okay receiver. You see what I'm saying? I believe he played lacrosse before he came over to football, but he did the 2017 team dirty. And we mentioned it early in the video. Tom Brady threw for over 500 yards in that Super Bowl. So again, our pass defense wasn't the best. Our corners, I don't believe that any of these corners that you named earlier in the video, Big Huss, would start on this 2024 team, and I'm keeping it a B. They will not start at all. I don't even think that they'll be depth. What we saw what the 2024 corners did, it's nobody on the 2017 team that I will take. The only person that can probably make a case, but it will be hard, is P-Rob, because P-Rob snapped in the slot in 2017.
He was older, though.
Yeah, he was older. And then now you know who we have in the slot with 2024, though, too, because it's like, man, you got Coop. You ain't starting over Coop, bro. And shout out to Coop and Quinyon, by the way, too, for being 2 of the top 16, I believe, or 17 corners ranked by PFF.
Yeah, I peeped that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and the scary part about that is both of them are going only into their second season, and they're already in the top. What would that be? The top quarter, the top third of the league?
Oh, for sure.
Top half?
Well, yeah. You like I said, Coop is the number 1 in the nickel position.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about just overall corners, like you said, you have 2 dudes, like I said, second year, top half of the league or whatever it is, at their respective position, and only getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a Cooper DeJean who, from Fangio, you playing corner, nickel, now you playing safety. Like
Safety.
The sky's the limit for this crew right here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I'm hoping. Keely Ringo went on this opposite side. You told us you really got a youth movement going on.
Yes. A whole youth movement happening right in front of our eyes, bro.
Yeah.
We, as long as we've been Eagle fans, I don't think I remember a time where our defense has been this young. If you've been Eagle fans for as long as me and Big Bro have been, every time we look at a defense and the defense trots out on the field for us, we're usually the older defense. We usually got 34-year-olds on our defense, 31-year-olds on our defense. You see what I'm saying? But in the last few years, we have made a switch to the youth movement. But now with 2024, again, Jalen Mills in 2017, thank God that we know the turnout. But if it wasn't for Julio Jones stepping out of bounds when he came down, we would have lost that game. We only won 15-10. Julio only needed to get his 2 feet in bounds because Jalen Mills out there acting like he doing all this, acting like Nah, bro. I used to get tired of that. I used to get tired of that. You got back, bro. Julio legitimately had it in his hands, came down, and just was out of bounds. But luckily, that didn't transpire that way, and we went on to win the Super Bowl. But now over to 2024, as you mentioned, big play Slay, even at the age that he's at, played at a very high level this season. Outside of him not wanting to tackle early in the season, but then as the season wore on, big play stuck his face mask in there and was making plays because obviously he had 49 total tackles when it was all said and done. So he was obviously tackling something. And then Quinyon had 46 total tackles. Coop had 51 total tackles. Then you had Keeley at 15 total tackles. Avante at 20 total tackles. And Isaiah Rodgers at 26 total tackles. Again, with this unit, it was legitimately after the bye week when the defense changed. And as you said, because when we incorporated Coop into the nickel role, did this defense take off? Quinyon went against the best receivers, as you mentioned. And I'll make sure that for our viewers and our supporters that we do put that on the screen so you guys can see the damage that Quinton Bay did to these receivers. He strapped some dog receiver. He strapped Scary Terry. They was putting Scary Terry on the milk carton, talking about, have you seen me? Have you seen me, bro? You see what I'm saying? It was a multitude of receivers. He went against Brian Robinson Jr., who was one of the best rookies this season. Again, you mentioned CeeDee Lamb. And these are guys and girls, these are just players that we're going off the top of our head that we know that Quinyon strapped up. Then you move to Coop in the slot, strapping everybody in the slot. We remember the one play where we talked about it on one of our prior videos, because where I think it was the Bengals, where Coop flipped his head and cut underneath of the guy cutting across the middle and should have had the pick, but like just to have that wherewithal as a rookie to know, oh, he ain't in my zone no more. Hold on, let me flip my hips real quick because somebody else might be coming back into my zone. Sure enough, somebody was coming back into his zone and should have had that pick. But to have two rookies, a vet, and then we're forgetting Isaiah Rodgers. Whenever Big Play Slay used to come up gimp and come up a little hobbled and had to come to the sideline, who came in? Isaiah Rodgers. And from there, it was no drop off. It was still the steady strapping up that we did in the back end. That's the difference between 2017 and 2024, where 2017, we didn't have the best corners on the outside. And that was kind of a liability. And that's earlier in the video when I said, Huss, I don't want to get too far in depth because that's what I was talking about. They were the liability. Yeah. Our corners were the liability in 2017, as opposed to 2024. They weren't no liabilities on the outside. It was games where the top threat, the top receivers weren't getting 100-yard receiving games. You see what I'm saying? So the fact is, 2024 didn't give up a lot of plays. 2024 held their own. Even look at what happened in the Super Bowl. Look what happened throughout the playoffs. I just said that Tom Brady threw for 500. What Patty Mahomes do? Patty Mahomes was seeing ghosts. Even though our D-line was turning up on him. What do we always say? Because the front end works with the back end. The back end works with the front end. If the front end is not rushing and getting to the quarterback, it makes the back end hold up longer and have to cover longer in coverage. If the receivers are getting open early, it doesn't matter what the linemen do, because if the receivers are beating the corners off rip, the lineman can rush the quarterback, but the ball's already out. So that's where what's it called? They both worked in tandem. But 2024, legitimately, this is one of the best secondaries and best corner tandems that I have seen outside of, we can go back to Lito Shepherd and Sheldon Brown in the early 2000s. And then for those who were around in the 90s, Bobby Taylor and Troy Vincent at corner. These were the best duo of corners that I have seen in quite a while, because you remember we went through the Kerry Williams, we've gone through the Nomni Asamoahs, we've gone through who else? Byron Maxwell. You see, I'm saying Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. all of them type of corners. But to just see what the 2024 team did, as far as the passing game and pass defense, they truly did their thing. So I give the nod to 2024, bro.
Okay. All right. And then last but not least, as far as defense goes, the safeties. Right now, 2017, Corey Graham had 2, Malcolm Jenkins had 2, and Rodney McLeod had 3. Now I like the safety group for 2024. I think CJ Gardner-Johnson, ball hawk, that's really his forte. What blew me with him was his red zone defense was atrocious. In the red zone, CJ Gardner-Johnson, if it was not a run, being they're passing the ball, he was a liability. Reed, steady, not going to do too much. You know what I'm saying? Knows his job. I really prefer him closer to the box, as far as closer to the line of scrimmage. And then Sydney was mainly a special teamer for us through a scene. We didn't really see a lot of him last year. Good group. I'll play that. Solid group. Really good group. But I believe the 2017 group was better, just as what they gave you. Malcolm Jenkins was a guy who was a converted corner. When he was coming out of Ohio State, he got drafted as a corner. He transitioned to safety. A lot of those skills that he learned from playing corner, being able to lock up man on man with people, you could blitz them, you could play him in the box, you could play him high, you could play him in the nickel. The versatility with Malcolm Jenkins, we haven't seen, as me and Mr. Owens talked about off camera before we recorded or whatever, really since Brian Dawkins. You haven't had that all-around, just well-rounded safety. Brian Dawkins was the guy before Malcolm Jenkins as far as just well-rounded safeties and what they can give you. And then you had Rodney McLeod, who maybe didn't do things to the level of a Malcolm Jenkins, but he was fairly versatile his damn self. You could play him around the line of scrimmage. You could play him up top. You know what I'm saying? He was a great tackler, even though he wasn't the biggest guy. That safety duo is one of the better safety duos I feel like we'll ever really see in Philadelphia history, for real. They just gave you a lot. They were never out of position, always where they needed to be. You go back to that Super Bowl. One of the big plays from the Super Bowl is Malcolm Jenkins knocking Brandon Cooks out the game early, setting the tone.
Here we go, 2-7. X your name in stone right now. Let's go.
Tom drops back under pressure. Throws it downfield for Cooks, who's open at the 40. Curls back to the inside. Dipped at the 41-yard line. Ooh. Drilled by Malcolm Jenkins. Tom Brady took a shot in the midsection.
Ooh, Brady right in the ribs. Having a tough time getting up. Man, he is bent over.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you want to go night-night?
Like,
everybody go night-night.
Literally put that man to sleep type deal. That's one of the major plays from that Super Bowl. It's just, I like what they were. Jim Schwartz was able to do with him, with those two players as far as the versatility. And like I said, then you bring in Corey Graham. Corey Graham was your third guy. He gave you 2 interceptions. He gave you valuable minutes. I just felt that's a better group, even though 2024 might have had more interceptions. I feel like that group was a little more experienced, a little bit more of a savvy group, a little bit more of a versatile group. And that's even counting Corey Graham. Corey Graham was a versatile player himself, undersized guy, but like I said, valuable minutes. I'm gonna go with 2017 here. And for me, like I said, it's really the versatility. I feel like the 24 safeties, CJ Gardner-Johnson was more of a one-trick pony. I'm saying you're the ball hawk. Every now and then you might come down here and lay some wood, but one-on-one, liability. Reed, not bad, not elite, just good. Sydney, we've yet to really see what he'll be. A lot of promise, but we'll see. I'm going to go with 2017 here.
Mm-hmm. You make a very good point, Huss. Again, that was the word that we were missing on this video that we always say in our content: versatility. That's what 2017 truly offered. You hit it on the nose with the 76 total tackles and 2 interceptions with Malcolm, and then to add on to versatility with Malcolm, he had 1 sack in that season. But then, as you mentioned, Rodney McLeod with the 3 interceptions, Corey Grant with the 3 interceptions. And shout out to Rodney McLeod going to DeMatha. I actually played against him when I went to St. John's. They beat us, but it is what it is, all right? But a shout out to him. And then what I like as well is Chris Maragos. Even though he only had 11 total tackles, he really wasn't lined up on the field at safety in 2017. He was a special teams ace and a special teams demon, constantly being around the ball, constantly making plays. But with the 2017 team, that sticks out with me is Malcolm Jenkins, as you said, a versatile all-around safety where you could plug him in anywhere on the field, and you knew that not only is he a voice and a leader on the field and in the back end, he's a leader on that defense, and he's going to get everybody lined up. You always have to have in football another voice on the field outside of the coach. The coach can call all the plays and all the audibles and stuff from the sideline all they want. But if you don't have a player that loves the game of football, that understands the game of football at a very high level and gets everybody lined up to execute at a very high level, it's not going to work. Malcolm Jenkins with Jim Schwartz was a match made in heaven. Then you add Rodney McLeod in there, coming down, making tackles, making interceptions, making plays. One play that I specifically remember, you already touched on Malcolm Jenkins in the 2017 Super Bowl. The play that I remember from Rodney McLeod was when they sent, again, Brandon Cooks, who got knocked out by Malcolm Jenkins, in motion in the flat. Rodney McLeod runs over there, breaks down. Brandon Cooks tries to hop over Rodney McLeod. Rodney McLeod catches him in the air. Bang.
And the ball is handed off to Brandon Cooks, who tries to hurdle and can't. Tackled by McLeod.
Stop. We trusted. We talked about this off camera, Big Huss. Consistency. That's been the theme for today. Those safeties in 2017 were consistent. We didn't have to worry about them missing tackles. We didn't have to worry about them over pursuing. We didn't have to worry about them misjudging the ball and not making a play on the football. They were constantly in position to make plays. Always. Always. That was one of not if it wasn't for the D line in 2017, the safeties would have been the strong point of the defense. Without a doubt. We felt comfortable. Anytime that ball was in the air and it was a deep pass, we knew Malcolm Jenkins or Rodney McLeod will be back there and make a play. You brought up a good point, Big Huss, where we haven't had a safety of that caliber. Not saying that Malcolm Jenkins is on the caliber of Brian Dawkins, but we're not going to play like Malcolm Jenkins ain't one of the ones, though, neither. But we haven't had that type of play on the back end since of Brian Dawkins. And then as far as a duo, I don't think we haven't had that type of safety play since Brian Dawkins, and you can go either Michael Lewis or you can go Brian Dawkins and Quinton McKell. For y'all, if you know, you know. But of course, we haven't always had the best safeties. We tried Nate Allen. He didn't work out of South Florida. Who else had we had as safety that didn't pan out? I can't think off the top of my head, but the one that sticks out to me is Nate Allen. He definitely didn't work out on a back end. But you flip over to 2024, as you mentioned, Reed had 4 interceptions. CJ had 6 interceptions. But I saw at times where Reed will come down and miss a tackle. I saw times where CJ will over pursue, especially in the Packers game. When Jalen Reed was on the sideline, cut back on CJ slipped, fell, boom, ta-da. You see what I'm saying? We saw, and you mentioned, because where we're in the red zone and it's a bigger body tight end. Who's the liability? Who's the mismatch? Oh, we're gonna go as CJ. CJ, created turnover. CJ was a heartbeat. We're going to miss his attitude and the grit that he plays with, and the tenacity and passion and fire that he does play with. But as far as pass coverage, he's a liability down there. You just get a bigger body tight end, play basketball. That's what they say in football. Play basketball when you throw the ball up, and the tight end uses their body to shield out the smaller body defenders, and that's what they did to CJ. CJ will either over pursue, he won't break down in tackling, he'll overplay the ball. It was always something with him. And then after those two, like we said, Sydney, we have high hopes for him going into the 2025 season, but he needs to learn the game at a higher level, and then also kind of slow down because he's too energetic. And it's crazy because you want your players to be energetic. You want your players to pursue the football. You want them to go and make the play. But sometimes when you are too fast to the ball, you overplay the ball and you miss the opportunity. And then we saw Tristan McCullum. We've been hearing reports this season that he's been doing well in OTAs and things like that. But it's just when I look at this 2017 team, it was just the leadership. It was the veteran presence on that back end. We knew that if you needed a safety or someone to come down and set the tone, we knew Malcolm Jenkins, Ronnie McLeod, either one would have come down and hit. Even Corey Graham stuck his face mask in there. But yeah, when we look at it pound for pound, I know people always go off of numbers. We know that it's a total of 11 interceptions in 2024 with the safeties, as opposed to 7 with the 2017 team. But as we mentioned prior in the video with the corners in 2017 had more interceptions than the 2024 corners, but those interceptions don't tell the full story. And if you don't know, go back to 2017, watch some film, watch the Super Bowl, and you'll see why me and Huss truly picked the 2017 team, the 2017 safeties over the 2024 safeties.
Facts. Lastly, special teams. I'm gonna have to go with the 2017 special team just off the fact that Jake Elliott wasn't a liability in 2017. 2024, there were points in this season. Look, we ready to put Jake in a chokehold. I ain't know what was going on with my guy.
Hey, bro, I called Howie and asked him for his personal info, bro, because I was about to meet Jake somewhere, bro.
Hey, I had me a little hate mail ready to go, bro. I'm about to send it out because, like, bro, what are you doing?
And look, we kidding with y'all. We kidding with y'all.
No, straight. Yeah, this is all jokes. For real. But Jake tightened it up when he needed to tighten up to the tune of us getting the Super Bowl this year. But it's just, I put it like this. This is the most inconsistent that we've seen Jake for a long time now. And it had us a little concerned. In 2017, Jake was on fire. 84% on the field goals. I believe he was more so around 70 or so this past season. And it was just the timing of the kicks. You know, he was missing extra points. He was missing field goals in 2024. We didn't have those worries. Jake was an afterthought in 2017. You know what I'm saying? We had other things going on. We were never worried about Jake being a problem. So that's one of the reasons why I'm going to go with that. Donnie Jones, he did his thing. I mean, we had better punting 2024, but in a totality, I'm going to go with 2017 just because the special teams weren't necessarily a concern for us. At one point, they were in 2024.
Mm-hmm. And you make a very valid point, because especially in 2017, with us not really worried about the kicking game and Jake Elliott, as you mentioned, had 84% field goal percentage this year. To dive a little bit deeper, he was 5 for 5 from 20 to 29 yards, 4 for 7 from 30 to 39 yards, 12 for 13 from 40 to 49 yards, and the big one right here, he was 5 for 6, 50 plus yards field goals. His longest that year was 61. Fun fact, if y'all don't remember, me and Big Huss remember, but that 61-yard field goal came from the New York Giants game in week 3, I believe, and that's when Carson Wentz was on the sideline and caught mic'd up saying, "Hey, if he makes this, I'll give him my game check. I'll give him my game check." And sure enough, he booted that right through the uprights.
This guy's a superhero if he makes this. I'll freaking give him my paycheck. I'll give him my game check. Huh? He made this a bunch of times in practice. I'll give him my game check. He makes this. Whoa! Whoa! Sure we cover. Come on, Elliott. Come on, Big 4.
Is it good? It is good!
As opposed to, man, what he gave him his name check. Come on now, you had to get it, bro. You got it on record, fam. You can't renege on your words, bro. You feel me? That's like playing spades and like, bro, everybody threw out the clubs and you ain't throw out the clubs, but in the next round you threw out a club. What you got going on, bro? What you got going on? You ain't know the pattern, the pattern of the suit. Come on, man. But Jake in 2024, he was 77.8, 78% field goal percentage. He was 9 for 9 from 20 to 29 yards, 10 for 11, 30 to 39 yards, 8 for 9, 40 to 49 yards. But the major mess up this season was from 50 plus. He was 1 for 7. That was the difference of Jake Elliott from 2024 to 2017. It was the 50-yard kicks where back in 2017, we knew 50 plus yards. Oh, Jake was money. As opposed to this year, I'm like, bro, when he's about to line up, I'm a little nervous, bro. I'm sitting here like, dog, is he going to kick it wide right? Is it going to be short? You see what I'm saying? Is he going to really hit the ball like how he needs to? That was what was scaring me about Jake Elliott. And then he only had, for his longest this year, was 51.
And bro, and you gotta remember, when he's missing these 50-yard field goals, that means that you're putting the opposing offense in a great position, an advantageous position on the field. They're almost guaranteed points to a degree. So when he's missing those field goals, it's bad for the Eagles. That's why I'm like, a lot of the field goals, it wasn't so much that, like you said, because 84 to 78, yeah, that's a big gap, but it's not like, oh my God, he just dropped off a cliff.
Right.
It was just more so the timing of them, man. 1 for 7.
Yeah.
And the one I don't think was that closer to the end of the season. That happened late, if I'm not mistaken.
It did, because I forgot who we played, but I remember that it squeaked right in the upright because he was about to miss that one too.
Yeah.
He was definitely about to miss that one too. I forgot who we were playing though.
I forgot too.
Yeah. But you make a good point though, because like you said, that gives the advantage to the offense. They're taking over. They're getting great field position. You're missing from 50 plus yards, bro. They only need like 15, 20 yards to get 3 points themselves.
That's what's right.
They don't got to drive the field, bro. You see, like it was crazy because Jake, like, you got to understand, y'all, like those who are diehard Eagle fans, y'all got to remember who we came from before Jake Elliott. We had David Akers. And for those who don't know, David Akers had a 99 rating since Madden just came out this earlier this week with Saquon being on the cover. David Akers was the only 90 outside of B-Dog. We know Weapon X. David Akers was the only 99 overall player.
David Akers was like that, y'all.
David Akers was to the point where I can walk in the kitchen, go grab something to drink, or whatever I need to do, go to the bathroom when he about to kick. I know when I come back, it's going to be 3 on the board.
Yeah.
I can literally tell you this is how great David Akers was. I only remember one miss from my time growing up being an Eagles fan. And that one miss was in the 2010 wild card playoffs when we played the Green Bay Packers. When we needed him to make it the most, David Akers missed it. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people they don't understand how we're diehard Eagle fans because people don't understand that we really bleed green. We know the history of this organization. I can remember one time David Akers missing a field goal. So we're going from David Akers, who's Mr. Consistent, to Jake Elliott, who was starting out as Mr. Consistent and then just started tailing off. But I take 2017 Jake Elliott for sure over 2024 Jake Elliott, because Jake Elliott in 2024 almost had me pulling out my hair and was about to have me looking like Mr. Clean. You see what I'm saying? But Donnie Jones had 67 punts for 3,033 yards, had a 45.3 average, a 62 longest, 5 touchbacks, and had 21 punts inside the 20. But with all those numbers that I just named, it was interesting because when I saw those stats, Donnie Bag of Bone Jones didn't have a punt that was over 50 plus yards that season. It was interesting because Donnie Jones was doing his thing in 2017. You feel me? But he had 50 plus yard punts, as opposed to when you flip it over to Braden Mann. He had 54 punts for 2,633 yards, a 48.8 average, 70 being the longest, 7 touchbacks, 20 inside the 20-yard line, and then he had 24 punts of 50 plus yards or more.
Well, you got to kind of look at it from this perspective too. The 2017 offense, they were putting up numbers early. They were getting off. So he probably wasn't having to really boot it 50 plus yards a lot of the times for real.
Matter of fact, you bring up a good point, because wasn't that the season when we finally had the punt and then Donnie Jones ran on the field and he still had on his sweatpants and he had to
yeah, bro,
Lane Johnson is out of the football game. Will Beatty is in there at right tackle now. And I think he's rip his pants off. Rip his pants off before he goes punt. I don't think I've ever seen that, Kenny. And it's down inside the 5. Donnie Jones remembered to take them back to the sidelines. He's like, oh, wait a minute, I still got these on.
He really wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It was just, I don't know, that team was like that. It wasn't a lot of bad positions where he's having to change field position. As opposed to 2024, we weren't really blowing teams out like that during the regular season. 2017, every game, you're up by 30, damn near at halftime. At
halftime.
Yeah, you're playing the backup second half. Like when this game's in the bag, let me go do something else. You know what I'm saying? As we spoke off camera, that was the first season where I felt like every week was going to be a dub. There were no concerns at all. Easy living as an Eagle fan, as opposed to the emotional roller coaster that we're used to. But no, I think that had a lot to do with him not having any punts over 50 yards. Is the way that offense was humming that year. But we was putting a pause on folks.
Yeah. You bring up a great point, because like you said, we were blowing teams out early in 2017, as opposed to 2024. We weren't putting up no points in the first quarter. I remember it was a few weeks where, bro, we weren't getting no field goals, no tight ends, no nothing. So we did have to use Braden Mann more times than we actually wanted to. But yeah, 2017, that offense was they were special, especially with Doug Peterson and Frank Wright calling that offense. I remember one score just in my head right now when we played the Broncos and beat them 51-23. Then I think we beat the Cowboys like 38-9. Like we was blowing teams out, as you mentioned, by halftime. So Donnie Bag of Bone Jones ain't really have to punt, as opposed to Braden Mann. Until we started finding our groove and our rhythm on offense, he had to punt the ball a lot. But I still will take 2024 punting wise, because Braden Mann definitely did his thing. And you can't go wrong with either one of these punters, especially coming from Aaron Sipos. I'll take Donnie Jones or Braden Mann, because Aaron Sipos was trash. He had to go. He used to blow my life. He used to shank the punts all the time. He used to kick like 20-yard punts. I remember in the Super Bowl, he messed up field position. You see what I'm saying? And folks don't realize how pivotal special teams plays into the game. But yeah, I'll definitely take Braden Mann in 2024 punting team. But I will take the 2017 overall special teams over 2024, including return specialists, because you remember that year, that's when we had Quinyon Mitchell. He didn't fumble too many times. I don't think he fumbled at all that season. And then we had Darren Sproles before he got injured versus the Giants when he broke his arm and tore his ACL. He was getting off in a punt return game. As opposed to 2024, we had Covey that got injured. Then you had Kenny Gainwell and Coop. Even though Coop was kind of exciting back on the punts, we talked off camera because he really didn't give us much in the punt game. So I definitely will lean to the 2017 special teams in this debate.
Okay. So real quick, last question before we get up out of here. On a head-to-head, 2017 versus 2024, who you going with?
I'm going 27. Like I'm playing with y'all, bro. I'm going 2024, bro. 2024. I believe 2024 has more firepower, more superstars all across the board, as we mentioned throughout this whole video. 2017 adds a lot of depth at key positions. But if you go pound for pound, I just think with the line that we have, the running attack that we have, the receivers, quarterback, the defense, Fangio calling the defense, Sirianni, I just think that we were over. It'll be close for like the first quarter or so, maybe going into the second. But after that, I just feel like the 2024 team will turn it up on them boys and go ahead and blow them out.
More. Definitely 2024 over the 2017 team. 2017, like you said, definitely offered way more depth at several positions. But 2024, man, we got some heavy hitters, both sides of the ball, from the quarterback, receiver, running backs, O-line, D-line, linebackers, just through and through. Coaching, you know what I'm saying? It was just everything was turned up a notch, and they're younger. So there's the potential for a dynasty. For me, it's 2024. And like I said, it might start off close, but when it's all said and done, I believe them boys gonna basically beat them down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if physically they can even hold up. This team, that 2024 team, was genuinely built different. It was built like an old school team.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 2024 for me. A lot of great players on the 2017 team, but this team,
it's that 2024 team, something special, bro.
PFF got them ranked as the best roster, man, and I see no reasons to argue with that.
And Hus, we got to factor in too with the 2017 team. We know how magical a run that was, but then also we weren't high on the Super Bowl odds because that season we only had the 20th best Super Bowl odds, as opposed to 2024. We knew coming off of 2022, losing the Super Bowl in the 2023, that was supposed to be the redemption year. And then we understood how that all unfolded. But this season, we had the 5th best Super Bowl odds for 2024. So it was 2017. We knew as Eagle fans that once we got the Alshons, once we got the JHIs, like those certain pieces, that can be a special team and win it. But with 2024, we expected the Eagles to win the Super Bowl.
For sure, because with that 2017 team, we were sneaking up on folks. Nobody was thinking about the Eagles making a Super Bowl run that year.
Kind of like the Commanders.
Yeah, truthfully. Mm-hmm. As opposed to this 2024 season. Look, y'all, we was just in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knew what this team was capable of, so we weren't sneaking up on anybody. And we had a tougher schedule this past year as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, even through all of that, these boys with their big boy pants on, they went to work week in and week out. Started off shaky, but once they found that groove, You couldn't tell them anything, man.
What Kendrick say? Turn the TV off.
Like, I'm
Come on
telling you,
now.
I don't even think it's close.
Mm-mm. And look, because we did touch on this real quick because off camera, we want to shout out Howie Roseman for literally we it was mind blowing to us because we sat there when we were talking because Howie Roseman has literally secured 2 Super Bowls against 2 of arguably the greatest dynasties in this era in the 21st century. As well, how we constructed 2 different Super Bowl rosters with 2 different head coaches, 2 different coaching staffs, 2 different quarterbacks, 2 different totally teams, 2 different total teams. It's crazy how you can look at other GMs around the league and they have a hard time trying to figure out 1 Super Bowl. Howie did it not only once but twice. So we definitely got to give the shout out to the best GM, not only in professional football, but in all of sports and in all of the world.
Absolutely. Hey, and the only 4 players to be on both teams for that Super Bowl run with Lane Johnson, Brandon Graham, Jake Elliott, and Jake Lovato. So they got 2 rings out that boy. But to the point you just made, for how to do that, man, completely, literally 2 different rosters, 2 different teams, straight on down, man. That's crazy. He'll be a Hall of Fame GM when it's all said and done, especially if he continues down this track. But hey, man, we had the greatest organization in the world here, man. Jeff Lurie's doing this thing, how we putting it together, Nick cooking it up with them boys. Great things on our future, man. Great things in our future.
Everybody's jealous about our success, bro. You can really look at all these other organizations and even fan base, and they be like, man, how the Eagles keep doing this? How y'all keep letting the Eagles do this? It ain't what we're doing. It's just we stick to our blueprint, we stick to our script, and just execute at a high level. You can't do everything that we do if you don't have the owner that we have that's willing to spend the big money. You can't do what we do if you don't have a GM that knows how to work the salary cap and knows how to build a culture where it's family oriented. They don't feel like, oh, I'm being used to play football. No, everybody is a family here. Everybody plays for one another, and everybody wants to be great. You can't be great without the greatness of others, right?
Hey, the culture's set. The culture is set. But look, everybody, this is our 100th video. We hope y'all enjoyed this as much as we enjoyed it, for real. You want to holler at anything you want to say?
Yeah, real quick, Big Huss. Again, Big Huss said it best. We thank y'all for the support that y'all have given us time in and time out. Y'all don't realize how much this means to us. We truly doing this content for y'all. We love our loyal supporters. We love our new supporters. Just keep building this community and keep earning a brick every single day. But again, we want to hear from y'all. So 2 quick questions. Put them down in the comment sections. First question: who would y'all take in a battle between the 2017 team and the 2024 Super Bowl team? Also, how me and Husky went through the different positions. What positions do y'all think that or feel that we got right with the 2017 or the 2024 teams, and which ones do y'all think that we got wrong? But before we get out of here, make sure that y'all continue to like these videos, continue to flood those comment sections. Remember to share and subscribe to the community and content, and let everybody know that y'all found y'all new favorite Eagle content creators. And last but not least, don't forget to turn on the notification bells so you don't miss when Swoop comes out with the Eagles news and updates.
Hey, continue to follow us down this journey. We appreciate y'all. This the 100th one. We hoping to do 100 more and 100 more after that. Keep this thing going. But I hope everyone has a great week. It's flag was fly till I die. If y'all don't know, I go by Big Huss.
And I go by Mr. Owens.
And this is the Main Thing podcast, where we keep the main thing the main thing. Hey, man, y'all have a great week. Till next time. Go Birds.
He looks, he fires. It is intercepted and running down the far side is Corey Graham.
Look at the celebration. Oh, they're having way too much fun.
Wasn't that called a stroll?
The electric slide?
On the electric.
Yeah, that's the.
It was I was gonna make a lot of money doing what I wanted to do. I went after it, and it was a struggle to achieve it. But you know what? I caught that bitch. Dream chasing.